What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC 303 Pereira versus Prochazka 2. Now, first things first, please hit the like button for me, subscribe if you're new or if you just haven't yet, and turn on the notifications so you know when I have my videos up and when we do our live shows. Leave some comments below how well you did at UFC Saudi Arabia, what bets you're looking at for UFC 303. And also check out my Patreon, patreon.com/JohnnyKpicks, where you will get all my early bets, all my UFC cheat sheets, time prop parlay cheat sheets, all that good stuff. $5.99 a month, or you can join for free. I also put out free content there and free bets as well. So yeah, last night was, like I said, UFC Saudi Arabia. Not too bad of a card, not too great of one either. The main card was definitely better. So let's go over that real quick, and then we will jump right into 303. So the first fight was Lee versus Shao or Long. Yeah, very close fight. I think what the judges were looking at for this one was Lee with those high clinch knees to the body for the whole freaking fight. That's all he did, but they were doing some pretty good damage with him. And Long wasn't really doing too much other than holding up Lee against the cage. So very close fight. I did say thought Lee would win, but it was a very close fight, so not bad. Magomed versus Bredson, interesting fight. I don't get the whole 28-28 scorecard at all, but I did think Magomed won 29-28. He won rounds 2 and 3. Did not expect this fight to go to decision, I will say that. But I mean, he didn't really impress me, Magomed, and Ribeiro didn't really impress me either. So it is what it is. Gafarov versus Kang, fairly close fight. I thought Gafarov won 29-28. So I think he got a few 30-27s. I thought Kang won round 3 for sure, but it is what it is. He still would have lost. But Kang had some, I don't know if his leg was compromised in the early fight, but he was doing a lot of more grappling than I thought. But as the fight went on, he was doing better with the grappling because Gafarov looked like he was slowing down a bit, but he was definitely landing the harder shots on the feet. So maybe that's why King maybe went to his grappling. Renat versus Dalby, very interesting fight. Very, very close. I picked Dalby. I don't want to say that I'm biased, but I kind of thought he edged it out. But round 2 was the closest round. And it just depends on who you thought won that round. If Dalby didn't get dropped in round 1, Dalby would have won this fight 100%. But he got dropped at the end, and he was already winning the first round too, I thought. So it sucks, but either way, like I said, I'm not crying robbery. It was a very, very close fight, but I just thought Dalby ever so slightly edged it out, but not going to cry robbery. Very fun fight here. Lima versus Nemov. Nemov was looking good the first couple rounds, but man, Lima is really good, like very good. He looked even better than I thought when I watched a couple of his fights. I didn't do like a deep dive into Lima since this was a fairly short notice fight that they made, but man, very good grappling. It's quick striking, good combos. I like this guy a lot. I'm interested to see what happens with him next in his next fight because man, this guy he looks like he could be a problem in the bantamweight division. He was already up a weight class in this fight too. So yeah, want to see what happens with him in his next fight. I'll be excited for that. That was one of the bright spots is Felipe Lima's submission. Nasrat versus Gordon, very close fight again. I thought Nasrat won. I think it was 1-1 going into the third, but I just thought Nasrat had a little bit more gas left, landing the better shots, and Gordon was just eating them and not really doing too much towards the end of that round. So I thought Nasrat got it done, but it is what it is. Volkan versus Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's done, guys. Chin's gone. No more. Can't bet him. Can't pick him. No more. That's about it. Good job for Volkan. Volkan's not that dangerous. Johnny Walker made him look like he's a freaking crazy man that could get knockouts. Volkan hasn't gotten knockouts since this one in like 5 years. So Johnny Walker's done, unfortunately, and it sucks. Shara versus Antonio Tricali. Shara got done in the third, but man, he does not look all that great. I tell you, I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe the one eye thing, but he ended up getting the knockout. But good for him. But man, Antonio hasn't fought in 3 years. Took this fight on super short notice, down a weight class that he's usually in. I don't know how he made 185, but Chara also had that blatant fence grab that caused him to stay up, and no point taken, no stern warning, no nothing. And I would be very interested to see what happens because he would have been taken down to see if maybe Antonio could have got a submission off of Chara, but Chara got it done in the third round. And it is what it is. Gastelum versus Rodriguez. I thought Gastelum won this one pretty easily, 29-28, if you want to say. Um, I actually thought, like I said, I know a lot of people were betting D-Rod because of this weight cut issue, but I thought it was going to favor Gastelum all day, and it did. You saw he was heavier when he got the takedowns. D-Rod couldn't get back up, and I thought Kelvin was actually landing the more harder shots. And any shot that D-Rod would land, Kelvin just kept coming forward, and it didn't look like he was getting touched up at all in his face. Like he had no bruises, no nothing. So I just think D-Rod's getting a little old. He's getting up there. He's 37. He's been injured a lot. I don't know. I think he's on a decline. And, Kelvin's Kelvin. I don't think he's going up or down. He's just Kelvin. Very interesting fight. Volkov versus Pavlovich. Didn't think this fight would go to decision. If you watched my little watch along, I said while this fight, before the fight, I was going to pick Volkov decision only at -125. So I didn't even think this fight would go decision. But if it did, I thought Volkov would be the winner. And luckily I did because I hit that little bet and made up for the under 2.5 that I lost in this one. And I'm still shocked that this fight went to decision for whatever reason. But Sergey didn't want to go full nuke. Like he was losing 2 rounds, and you would think he would just go in. He went full nuke against Tom Aspinall, who's way more dangerous than Volkov. But Volkov just stayed at range, used the kicks, and got it done. He was touching up Sergey as the fight went on. You saw the blood and the cuts on Sergey. It is what it is. Good win from Volkov. And a very good win from Robert Whitaker. I think a lot of people were sleeping on him. I know Ikram, like I said, he was looking great in his first couple fights in the UFC, but you have to remember those fights were against Phil Hawes and a very short notice Warley Alves, who's not even a 185 or he's 170. So Ikram, I mean, he's not a bum or anything like that. He's gonna like this was just a massive step up, and Bobby Nux is the real deal in the middleweight division. So I didn't think it would end like this. I'll tell you that. I thought it might have went a little bit longer. I said if Whitaker would have got a finish, it would probably be in rounds like 3, 4, or 5. And then Ikram would have been rounds 1 or 2 if he would be able to touch Robert or Bobby's chin. So he wasn't able to touch Bobby's chin, and Bobby was able to touch Ikram's chin, and look what happened. Good win. Like I said, the main card was fun. Prelims, man. With my picks, I ended up going 6-5, not the greatest. And for my bets, here they are. For whatever reason, Bet MMA Tips has not updated my last 2 parlays. It only has like the first 3 bets, but I believe I won a little bit. Nothing crazy. Naimov, I lost that one. Lee won that one, so those basically canceled out. I won the over 2.5 in the Nasrat fight. That was with a parlay with Shara against Luderback, but then that fell off. And then I hit this Kelvin and Nasrat parlay, and then I lost this other one too. So, like I said, I think I won a little bit of units. If I did my math correctly, it just hasn't updated, and I didn't post it yet. I'm waiting for it to update. So, like I said, I think I came out ahead, maybe around like a half a unit or something. So I wasn't really super confident betting wise on this card, so I kept it really light, and it is what it is. But this card, on the other hand, UFC 303. There's some good spots I like already for money lines, for parlays. I haven't seen any over unders yet out, but we'll go as the week goes on. We'll see where the lines go. I think the lines are going to be shifting a lot. So let's go to the first fight, which is a crazy because this is actually a pretty decent fight for the first one. We got Ricky Simone versus Vinicius Oliveira. So Ricky Simone, very good wrestler. He's got very good takedowns. Kind of a chain wrestler, if you want to say, but he's got good boxing and power in his hands. Good cardio for the wrestling. He can be a little hittable on the feet against good technical strikers. Also can get clipped at times too, but he's very tough. He's very durable. He's going to stay in there. He's going to fight for your money. Oliveira, very dangerous striker, as we've seen in his last couple fights. He's not really the most technical. Give me a little bit wild with flying knees and spinning attacks and stuff. He's very dangerous early. And obviously he's very dangerous late. But that was a short nose fight from Bernardo, and Bernardo actually looked very good in the first couple rounds until he's kind of faded because I think he lost some gas. But Vinicius throws tons of volume. Like I said, good cardio. He does slow down a little bit as the fight, not to say that he depth gasses. Takedown defense, though, isn't all that great. Bernardo was able to take him down, and he was the much smaller fighter. He's normally a flyweight. So that's very interesting to think about in this fight. But Vinicius is very durable. I think he's only been knocked out maybe once in his career, maybe twice. Oh, actually, he's been knocked out all three of his losses. I lied. So like I said, it's wrestler versus or striker here. Man, there's a world where Oliveira could win this fight and maybe get a knockout, but man, I think Simone's chin is very good still. I know he got knocked out against Yudong Song, but that was later in the 5 round fight, I believe. But this is 3 rounds. I'm gonna go with Ricky here. I think he gets that wrestling going. I do believe he can get takedowns. He has to be just has to be a little bit careful with like flying knees or something like that when he goes in for takedowns because Vinicius is very dangerous and he could potentially get a knockout here. But I like Ricky's wrestling here. I think the wrestling is going to play a big part if he can get it going. I think he gets this one done by decision. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Oliveira on the feet. I mean, he probably wants to get this fight to the mat. So can I see a submission? Maybe, but I'm just going to go with decision. I'm pretty medium level with Ricky here, but we'll see. Like I said, I could see a world where Vinicius gets a knockout. Next one is going to be Carlos Hernandez versus Ray Tsuruya. I'm going to guess. Hernandez, well-rounded guy. I wouldn't say he does anything amazing. He's got decent striking, good grappling. He's tough. He's durable. I know he got knocked out in his last fight against Tatsuro, but that was a very good, clean shot right down the middle that he dropped him, and then he just did not get back up early in that fight. But normally, like I said, he is durable. He's got good cardio. He's got good scrambles on the mat. Not the greatest of takedowns, but he can get this fight to the mat. But I don't know if he's going to want to because Tesoria making his UFC debut, he was on the road to UFC. Um, have I don't like I said before, I usually don't watch the road to UFC because usually on at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to stay up for that. But I did watch a couple of those fights recently, and he's a very, very good grappler, solid wrestling and takedowns. His striking is okay. I wouldn't say it's like great, but it's not terrible either. He does have very good cardio. He's very patient on the feet too. He waits for the right time for the takedowns, and he's super young, 22 years old. Another young Japanese up and coming, very good grappler. Kind of reminds you of Tessura. But yeah, I'm gonna go with him. Actually, I think he gets this one done. I'm not all impressed with Carlos. He does have the experience on his side, but he's just not dangerous. Um, and I just don't think he's going to be able to win a decision here because I do think Tesoro is going to be able to out grapple him. I think he's the better grappler. And on the feet, it could play out a little bit closer, but Carlos's takedown defense isn't all that great either. So it's not like I think he's going to stay on the feet for the majority of the fight. I actually think Tesoro is going to be able to get him down, maybe even take the back and do all that stuff and then win minutes that way. So give me Tesoro to win. I'll say by submission. I'm going to go with submission because I do think his grappling is that good. I think he can get Hernandez out of there by submission. He has been submitted once in his career. He's been knocked out once. So, I mean, maybe ground and pound knockout too. Maybe inside the distance might be a safer play. I don't know what the prop is because minus 400 for a UFC debutant is a little crazy. But I do think he wins this fight. We'll see where the line goes. Maybe some people are will be on Hernandez late, and maybe that line will come down to like minus 300, which wouldn't be too bad. Next one, the legend Andre Arlovski versus Martin Buday, however you want to say his last name. Arlovski, like I said, legend, 45 years old, 55 fights. This dude is, I don't even know how he's still chucking, but okay striking, okay leg kicks. Striking defense isn't that great. He doesn't move his head. He does fade after the first round with his volume. Keeps his hands even lower. He's a little chinny as of late. Um, you know, I don't know how Waldo didn't get him out of there in that fight, but Dontel Mays was able to knock him out. Ruggiero basically was a club and sub. It should have, he landed a good shot and then got a submission. Um, yeah, I mean, he's 45 years old, so it is what it is. Buday, he's an okay striker. He does have good volume. He does have a good clinch up against the cage. He's very strong that way. Decent power. He's not really a traditional one punch knockout heavyweight. He does have good knees in the clinch. Also, he can be a little hittable. His gas tank is a little questionable as well as we saw in the last fight. But Gadziev is actually like at least dangerous. He doesn't really have a gas tank, which is why I kind of think it ended in the first round or early second. I can't remember. But I got to go with Boudet, and I know he's Boutte, but man, Orlovsky's 45 years old. Like I can't back a 45-year-old, and that's really about it. Now, if I were to get Orlovsky maybe like 5 years ago at 40, I would probably pick him. But 45 now, in these last three fights, he has not looked good in either of them. I'm just gonna go with the younger guy. I think he gets this one done more times than not. I do think he gets a later finish, second or third round. Wouldn't be shocked if this is a decision either, though. But I'll say Butte gets him out of there in late second or early third round. It might even be like by submission. Who knows? Because we've seen Orlovsky kind of like tap real quick if he knows he's done. So we'll see what happens. And I'm sure the refs are going to be itching to stop a fight whenever it looks bad for Arlovski because we don't want anything crazy to happen to him. Let's be honest. So give me Buday to win. I'll say late finish. Next one's gonna be Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Jillian Robertson. So Waterson, did I say Jillian Roberts? Waterson? Jillian Robertson. I don't remember if I said what, but Gomez, well-rounded fighter still. She's 38 years old, getting up there a little bit. She's lost four in a row and not the greatest of looks, but I will say I will give her this. I thought she might have won the Luana fight very close, but she does have solid striking, good kicks. She can wrestle and grapple, which she probably shouldn't in this fight at all. Um, Pretty durable. I know she was knocked out against Rodriguez, and that was a crazy fight. I don't know if that took some years off her career there, and she got caught in a guillotine from Lemos, which isn't the greatest of looks because she was actually looking pretty decent in that fight until then. But good cardio. Like I said, she's always going to fight for your money. But Robertson, very, very good grappler with very, very good submissions. Her striking is just meh, okay. I think she can hang on the feet with Robertson for sure. Her wrestling has been improving a little bit with her takedowns ever since she's went down the straw weight. At flyweight, she could not get anybody down, but now she's getting the takedowns and she's getting the wrestling going. And whenever she does, she looks great. But on the feet, she can be a little hittable, a little slow, but she is durable too, and she's gonna fight for your money as well. But I got to go with Jillian here. I think once this fight gets to the mat, I think it's going to be over shortly. Jillian's grappling is really, really good, and I think it's way better than Waterson Gomez's. So, like I said, on the feet, if this fight does stay on the feet, I think it's going to be close, but I don't think this fight's going to be on the feet for very much. Jillian's going to be the bigger fighter as well. I think she can get this fight to the mat somehow, some way, and get a submission. So give me Jillian to win. I'll say second or maybe third round finish. I could see a ground and pound, but probably going to be by rear naked choke, something like that. So I could see Waterson putting herself in a bad position and maybe even getting a guillotine, something like that. So pretty high on Jillian to get this one done. Next one is going to be Peyton Talbott versus Giannis Ghemmouri. So this line is crazy, minus 1,600 for Peyton. It didn't open up that, but I get it. Talbot's a very high volume striker. He always pushes forward. He's got good power in his hands. He's got good combos, good cardio, solid takedown defense. If he does get taken down, though, he does have a pretty good get up game. But guess what? Giannis is not a wrestler. He's a good technical striker. He's not very dangerous, though. He can mix in some takedowns, which I do think he maybe should try. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get this guy down. He does have good cardio. He is pretty durable. He hasn't fought in a while. 9 months, but he got kicked to the body. And I wouldn't be shocked if Peyton goes for that body kicks, body shots, liver shots. That's what he does. He just wears you down. So easy pick. I don't want to go too crazy into this one, but is this fight at bantamweight? It is at bantamweight. Okay. So yeah, not going to go too crazy into this. Talbot wins this one inside the distance, probably first or second round. I just don't think Giannis is going to be able to survive for more than 2 rounds with the pressure and the pace. He's going to have to land something crazy, and we've not seen Peyton at all get tired, rocked, shocked, whatever you want to say. So inside the distance within the first 2 rounds is probably a good bet. Maybe the under 1.5 is probably a safe one whenever it comes out. Interesting fight here. Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. And Jourdain, solid striker, likes to push forward. He's super tough. He's super durable. He can wrestle. He does have pretty good grappling, good cardio too. He is a very slow starter though. Like he gets going, and then as the fight goes on, he gets more into it. And then usually it's too little, too late, and he loses a lot of decisions that way. He lost a split decision to Sean Woodson, which I do think Woodson won that clearly. I don't know why it was split. He was able to submit Hamos. Hamos was stupid in that fight. The Gracie fight was just disgusting, and then these other two were decision losses that he lost. Well, the Burgos fight was very close. We'll be honest. But Gene Silva, powerful striker. He's got good volume. He can be a little hittable at times with counters. He does have good takedown defense. He can also grapple too, but he's more so a striker. He's going to want to keep it on the feet. And I know he beat Weston Wilson. It's not the greatest of looks, but it is a win in the first round. And he's looked good in his fights too. But this is a very interesting fight. You know, Jourdain's going to be a little bit taller. The reach is about the same, but I cannot trust Jourdain like at all. And I do think Gene's pretty good. I do favor his striking more so. I think he lands the harder shots. And I don't think Jourdain's going to be able to get the grappling going too much because, like I said, Silva does have pretty good grappling and good takedown defense. So I think this fight will mainly play out in the feet. And it just maybe we'll see what happens later in the fight because that could favor Jourdain. But first 2 rounds, I don't know, for whatever reason, too, the judges seem that they don't like Jourdain either, and with the scoring whenever it goes to decision. So I'll say this fight goes to decision because, like I said, both guys are super tough and durable. There had to be something like a club and sub or like a guillotine to be a finish, I believe. So that could be a look to maybe fight ends by submission. But I'm gonna go with Gene Silva, the underdog here, to get this one done. I'll say by decision. It might even end up being close, like usual with Jourdain fights, but I just don't think he's gonna get that nod here. So we'll see what happens. Next one will be a fun fight. Some guys that are kind of tough to trust nowadays. Cub Swanson versus Andre Touchy Fili. Swanson, he's back at featherweight. I know his last fight was at featherweight too against Hakeem Dawodu, but I will tell you this, and I'm sure everybody knows he did not win that fight. Very, very bad decision. Um, Not to say that it was a 30-27 that he lost Hakeem, but he definitely did not win that fight. But anyways, it is what it is. He's a good striker. He's got good boxing, good power too. He can wrestle and grapple, but he probably shouldn't nowadays. He's been submitted a lot of times. Likes to push forward. He works the body very well. He's very tough. He's going to stay in there. He does kind of fade nowadays. He's 40 years old. But he's one of those guys where he's going to fight for your money again. Andre, very well rounded, actually. He does have very good technical striking, good counters, good wrestling. He can mix in. He's very hittable, though. We've seen his chin get a little dusty. Danny Guy hits hard, though. I'll give him that. He's been knocked down a couple times in the Nathaniel Wood fight. That fight was crazy. But he's still very dangerous. And I think he's a little underrated. The only thing that's not underrated, though, is his chin. And that does worry me in this fight because Swanson does still hit hard. I do favor maybe Swanson's durability a little bit more, but I'm still going to go with Fili because I do think he can mix in the wrestling here. I think he should. Not to say just to wrestle, but just mix it in every now and then, maybe to win some points and minutes. But striking, I think it's going to be a very close fight. But I'm just gonna go with Fili, the younger guy here. But again, it's just tough to back and bet this fight. I think I'm just gonna stay away because maybe Swanson like plus 3.5 spread. I think he can win one of these rounds or maybe even get a finish. It's not really that bad of a play. But for my pick, I am going to go with Fili. I'm going to say by decision. I think he just gets it done a little bit more. And I do think he's going to get that wrestling going a little bit. I think he should, especially later in the fight. Um, I still like Fili. And I mean, I like Swanson too, but I think Fili's very good. He's just things don't go his way. Like loss, win, loss, win, loss. I think a win's ready to go here. But then you have win, loss, win, loss, win. Let's go with Fili to get the win and Swanson to get the loss. I know it doesn't make sense, but MMA doesn't make sense either. Featured prelim Joe Pyfer versus Mark Andre Barriault. Interesting fight. Joe Pyfer is a very dangerous striker. He's got power in his hands. He slows down with his volume as the fight goes on. His last fight where he did lose, it was his first 5-round fight. He was able to survive all 5 rounds against Jack, who usually has very good cardio, and he did show it. Jack got hurt early too, and so Piper does have good wrestling. He can wrestle. We haven't really seen it all that much. He tried to get Jack down a few times, but I think he stopped. Um, but he's gonna fight for your money. He's durable too. He does get hit a lot though, which is a little worrisome. But Marc Andre though, well-rounded guy. He does have good striking, good takedowns. He's got good cardio. He is durable. I know he's been knocked out a couple times, like not knocked out. Well, where did he get knocked out? I think it was the Cheaty fight. So that was a while ago. But Anthony Hernandez was able to out cardio him, and Anthony will be able to out cardio a lot of people. But Andre, he can out cardio you as well. We've seen it in a few of his fights. But you like it for this fight. Actually, I don't like the line. I'll be honest, and I'm not saying Joe Pyfer is a little bit overrated. I need to see more from him to bet this line at where his current line is. But for my pick, I'm gonna pick Pyfer. I do think he's the more dangerous guy. I think Mark Andre's path to victory, though, is to just out cardio him and get this fight to decision. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Joe Pyfer. I think Pyfer can potentially win a decision, and I think he's the only guy that could get a knockout. So give me Pyfer to win. I'm going to say by knockout. I'll say maybe like first or second round knockout. But like I said, it wouldn't shock me if this fight goes to decision. And, it can go either way. That's the thing. So I'm just gonna go with the guy with the more danger that's more dangerous. And Mark Andre, he has a chance here. Maybe look at the plus 3.5 spread. The only thing you have to worry about is the first round for Joe, I think. And then his dangerousness kind of backs off a little bit. Interesting fight though. Like I said, I'm gonna stay away, but maybe look at the over unders, see what they're at. But I think this line might be a little too wide. I don't know. It's weird. I can't trust Joe Pyfer yet. Next one's gonna be Ian Garry versus Michael Venom Page. Garry, very good technical striker. He does have decent power, very quick strikes, very good combos, good leg kicks, good movement on the feet. He can be a little hittable sometimes with counters if he comes in a little bit too aggressive when he pushes forward, but he is durable. You see him get rocked in one of his fights, and he got back a couple of his fights. Maybe he got back up and then, ended up getting the win. Um, Page, though, very interesting, unorthodox striker. He's going to be very long, 79 inches. So he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. Wild, like I said, little wild and crazy with his kicks, his spinning elbows, all that good stuff. Does have power, good leg kicks, good takedown defense. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of wrestling or grappling in this fight, but he's not really much of a grappler, but he's got the good takedown defense, and he's just an exciting guy. So this fight's gonna end up being one of two ways. There's gonna be a crazy finish, and everyone's gonna cheer, or it's gonna be a very boring fight, and everyone's gonna boo for 3 rounds. But I'm gonna go with the younger guy in Garry. Like his strike, like I say what you want about Garry and his personal life and all. If you may not like him and his personality, whatever. But this dude's a good fighter. and he's very sound on the feet. I like how technical he is personally, and I think he's going to be good enough to beat Page here. I mean, this is going to be a very tough fight for him. The line is appropriate. I'm going to watch it. If Garry, for whatever reason, does get the plus money, I think I'm going to jump on that. But I mean, Page does have a chance to win this fight. Just needs to be a little bit unorthodox, like he's been. Confuse Garry a little bit, maybe, and they can get a win. But I like this fight to go to decision. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. Both guys, like I said, both guys are pretty durable, and they could get clipped, and I think they recover well. So give me Garry to win by decision. Probably 29-28, probably a very close one, but I'm just going to go with the younger, more technical striker, I think. But Page just needs to stay on the outside and do his thing, and he'll have a chance. Next one, Mero Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Bueno Silva's well-rounded, solid striking, sneaky submissions, very sneaky with her front chokes, ninja chokes, guillotines, all that good stuff. She's very she can grapple, but she's not going to initiate the wrestling though. She's very good off her back grappling, but her getting takedowns is kind of an issue. She's very hittable on the feet. She can slow down with her volume as the fight goes on, as we saw in her last fight against Raquel Pennington. She slowed down after the first round and a half, and didn't look like she wanted to be there anymore. And that's kind of I can't back that. But Macy, well rounded. She's very tall, very long, big for this division. Her striking is pretty good. She does have power in her hands. She's been showing a lot of wrestling and good grappling as of late. Good in the clinch. She can put herself in some bad positions, which is a little worrisome for this fight because, like I said, Silva does have very good sneaky submissions, good arm bars, good front chokes. So if Macy doesn't has a little bit of a longer neck, not to be mean, so if she doesn't keep that neck tight and out of harm's way, I think Silva has a very legit chance to snatch up that neck. But if we're not going to be looking at that, I'm going to go with Chase on to win this fight. Like I'm not all on the I'm not all aboard on the Silva train anymore. I thought she would win this fight against Raquel, and I'm not putting all of that stock on this pick because she lost. It's kind of the way she lost and the people that she's beating. I think Macy's better than a lot of these fighters, actually. Not is she better than Raquel? Maybe. I think Macy potentially could beat Raquel, to be honest. But the only thing that I have to worry about with Macy is just she needs to watch her neck when she goes for some takedowns. And other than that, I think she wins this fight. I think she can outstrike her. I think her cardio is better. I think she's stronger. I think she can get takedowns. She just has to be very careful with the submissions. So give me Macy to win. I'll say by decision, but because Buena Silva, I don't think she's ever been finished. Let me see. No, she's never been finished. She's lost 3 times by decision. So Macy by decision is the bet for me, or play, or pick, whatever you want to say. Um, Pretty weirdly confident, actually, other than the submission threat from Silva. This fight was kind of interesting how it came about, but it is what it is now. Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. I believe this fight started out as Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, and now we get Anthony Smith and Roman Dolidze. So Anthony Smith, both these guys are taking this fight on short notice. This is like a fight that they made up in the last week or two. He's a well-rounded guy, good grappling, good sneaky submissions, as we saw in his last fight against Vitor. He was able to Vitor. Ooh, that was rough, but Smith does have good leg kicks. He's got a good jab. He can be a little hittable, but he is normally durable. He's tough. He's going to fight for your money. His takedown defense isn't the greatest, which is something you may want to look at in this fight. Roman Dolidze, very good grappler. He's very tough as well. He does have very good submissions. His striking, can be a little low volume, but he does have good power in his hands. He's very strong as well. He doesn't really check leg kicks, which is something to think about too for this fight because Anthony Smith does have pretty good leg kicks. And then sometimes, Sometimes Roman makes some weird decisions. He goes for ankle locks all the time, and I don't know. So this fight's very interesting. It's a wild card. I don't know what's gonna happen. Both these guys do like to grapple. Both these guys, will strike if need be. Maybe you would give Smith a slight edge in striking, and I would maybe give Roman the slight edge in grappling and wrestling. So I'm gonna go with Dolidze because there's just a lot of miles on Anthony Smith. And say what you want about Roman, he's been hit dirt. He's freaking tough. He's freaking durable. Very good grappling. So I don't think Smith is going to be able to get the grappling going. But if Roman gets that wrestling going, takes him down, I think Smith might be in trouble on the mat with Roman. Now on the feet, I think Roman might be a little bit in trouble, but just gonna go with Roman. We'll see where the line goes. It's pretty close. I think it's like minus 150 for Roman right now or so. But yeah, like I said, both these guys are taking this fight on short notice. It's kind of a made up fight randomly all of a sudden because of the Connor situation, blah 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 blah. And well, I shouldn't say Connor situation, the Jamal Hill and Oldberg pulling out. It weirdness. So we've been seeing a lot of that recently. So Roman is the play. I'll say by decision, but like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a submission. Anthony Smith has been finished a good amount of times in his career. 15 out of the 19? 15 out of the 19 losses he's been finished. So maybe look at Roman inside the distance. I don't think Roman's ever been finished, if I remember correctly. No, he's lost 3 decisions. So he's gonna be in there. So I think that might be a good look. So give me Roman to win. I'll say inside the distance just to be a little safe. Co-main, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. Again, another put together fight on short notice somewhat, maybe like a week, week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. But this is a very good fight, actually. Ortega's a very good grappler. He's got very good submissions. His striking is just okay. He's very hittable on the feet. His takedowns aren't really the greatest, but his last fight, he was able to take down Yair, but Yair's takedown defense isn't that great either. But and then gets a submission and revenge his loss against him, where he got a shoulder injury. But he's very tough. He's very durable. He'll fight for your money. Um, I think he's only been finished twice. Yeah, the Yair technically, and then Max Holloway. So but Diego Lopes, man, he is on a gravy train with biscuit wheels right now. Everyone's in love with him, and I totally get it. Very good grappler with amazing submissions, good scrambles, good reversals. It's going to be fun to see both these guys grapple if it gets to the mat. But the striking has looked very dangerous, very powerful. He's gotten a couple knockouts here against Sabatini and Sadiq, which was crazy. Um, but he's one of those guys, he's got good cardio too. He's durable. He can be a little hittable on the feet, but I think that striking is coming along. He's looking dangerous, like I said. I'm gonna go with Diego. I think he's the more dangerous guy. I don't think he's gonna get submitted by Brian. I think if there's a finish, it's gonna be a knockout by Diego Lopes because Ortega's been knocked out a couple times in his career. We've seen him get hit so much, and this could end up playing out on the feet like a striking fight. And I do favor Diego with the more powerful punches. I think he has the more finishing upside on the feet, and maybe a club and sub happens here too. So give me Lopez to win. Lines are about right. I know at one point I think Lopez was actually an underdog when it first came out. Now it flipped to him being a favorite. But the line I think right now is probably where it should be. Just me, but let's go with Lopez. I'll say by decision. I think this is one of those fights where you think there's going to be a finish, and I don't think there will be. So let's go. Main event again. Another made up fight because of the Connor situation and him injured, all this good stuff. And we all know who both these guys are. Alex Pereira, very technical kickboxer, very good leg kicks, death touch left hook that can knock you out, which did knock out Yuri in the last fight. Um, Alex is working on his takedown defense, his grappling, anti-grappling, whatever, just to stay on the feet. But this guy is just your classic tick kickboxer that's just hits like a truck. And he's pretty durable. I know he got knocked out against Izzy, but you know, looking good. Yuri, crazy striker, always pushes forward, keeps his hands down, unorthodox, crazy spinning attacks, late kicks, knees. Very hittable though, but he's very durable. He keeps his hand, like I said, keeps his hands a little bit too low for my liking. He doesn't check any leg kicks at all, which is a little bit worrisome. He can wrestle and grapple, but more so than not. He did look good against Alexander Rakic. Got the finish. He was getting touched up a lot, and Rakic really is the finisher that Pereira is. And Rakic fell off a cliff after round or 1.5 rounds. I don't know if it was this. He said he had staph infection, but it is what it is. Everybody has staph infection nowadays, so it doesn't matter. But I know they say usually fights don't go the same way if they're rematches, but I think Pereira gets a knockout again. Yuri's too hittable for me. The leg kicks are a concern. Now, can Yuri push through it and go full crazy mode like he can later in the fight? Yes. But I don't know if this fight goes past round 2 because Pereira is just nasty. And Yuri, I mean, like I said, I don't blame anybody for picking Yuri, especially at plus money right now. Not a bad bet, but I can't pick and or bet against Alex Pereira at this stage in his career when it seems like everything's going his way. He's looking great. But again, both these guys are taking this fight on short notice, so we don't know where the conditioning will be later in the fight. I actually would probably favor Yuri the longer the fight goes, but I just don't think Yuri is going to be able to take those punches. He wasn't able to take the punches in the last fight, and he got knocked out. Now people are going to say, "Well, it was an early stoppage." I think Pereira would have finished it, and the ref would have stopped it 5 or 6 seconds later. They just stopped it a little bit earlier. It would have been a finish, I thought, but I don't think it was a horrible stoppage. Maybe a touch too early, but I think the writing was on the wall. So give me Pereira. I'll say by first or second round knockout. I don't think this fight's going to last too long, to be honest. But like I said, if this fight does go past round 2, maybe 2.5 rounds, maybe look at live betting Yuri because I do think Alex will kind of slow down. I think Yuri will set the pace and be the one pushing Alex back. And that's how he usually wins the fights, is when his opponent's going to be pushing back. But Alex does not allow that. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be another fun fight for them. But we'll see what happens with see if Yuri can avenge his loss, his belt back. But all right, guys, that is it for UFC 303. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please hit that like button on your way out, all that good stuff. Wednesday night, Defend Your Units will be back. I'll have a special guest on with Cody taking his little break. And so we'll be back on. We'll go over this fight part again, give you a little bit more of our bets and all that good stuff. We'll do a show bet. We've hit 2 weeks in a row on our on our show bet. So definitely want to check that out too. So again, appreciate everybody watching. Good luck to your bets and your picks, and hope this card looks pretty solid. Actually, I will say for the main card basically is made up on the fly. So it is what it is. So take care. See you guys Wednesday night. Happy fighting.